experience really illustrates how incredibly positive sex work can be for a lot of people. I know a lot of people
Definitely.
have this misconception. They say like, go
For
get a
sure.
real job,
Oh,
and sex
goodness.
work is terrible for you. But I mean,
Oh,
here
goodness.
you are,
Yeah.
somebody who worked a bunch of odd jobs that, you didn't stick with. You were
Yeah.
living in your car, you were homeless, you were really struggling. And then you come out here and you get into porn, and now you're a successful performer, you're directing, you're producing your own movies. Um, you've cultivated your own brand.
Sure.
So I feel like, you're a great example of how sex work really can help people, get their own independence, like get their shit together. You
Definitely.
also, because you mentioned earlier, I think about like how you weren't good with the structure of like a 9 to 5 job. Do you find that working in porn is helpful because it's kind of like not that 9 to 5 structure?
Yeah, I mean, I find the freedom of being kind of like your own boss and like, TS were our own manager, historically it's how it's been. I think people are starting to break into the agency stuff a little bit. But yeah, I think just like, being somebody who like has always been a starving artist, I finally found something creative I could do that I made money doing. And like that to me is like the ultimate combination that I've been missing, my entire life. And I mean, it sounds so cliche, but it frankly saved my life, because I was going down a really dark path, you know what I mean? And I literally had just given up hope. I gave up and I was just going to go be a bum. I was like, that was it. I really had given up and I didn't care about my body. I was beating myself up, getting in a lot of like pretty unsavory situations, when I was homeless and just not giving a shit, and just having something that made me care about my own body and my health and putting money in my pocket, taught me how to handle money. I never even had a bank account until like, I mean, I had one like prior and like when I had older jobs and stuff, but like
Mhm.
there was this huge period of time where I just didn't have a bank account, between like the animal hospital and the porno. And I couldn't even barely get one when I got out there because I didn't know my social security number. It was a whole mess, this whole big bureaucratic mess I was dealing with. But I learned how to, deal with my credit. I learned how to manage money, and I've got a bunch of bank accounts now. And I just learned how to kind of be an adult. It grew me up in many ways. And yeah, it's like when hear people say, get a real job, I'm like, I mean, you kind of let it like kind of slide off your shoulder a little bit because, they're just don't know what they're talking about.
Mhm.
But it's also like, I've never felt more like adulting than I've having been in porn and like learning all this stuff, taxes and all this crap. Like, it's like I would never have ever even touched any of that stuff had I not, broken into something that like really worked for me. It's kind of like just a perfect
Yeah.
thing.
And I think also too, touching back on what we talked about earlier about you directing now and having to wear so many hats and so many different things. I mean, you become like this multitasker now, and look at all these other
Yeah.
skills that you've been forced to pick up so that you
Yes.
can create the product that you really want to make.
Yeah. My time management has definitely gotten like worlds better. Like I used to like be a little late, at first to shoots and like, the guy who shot most of my scenes for my paid site basically like one day just gave me what for, gave me a good finger wagging. And from that day forth, I was like so kind of obsessed with being punctual and, managing my time right. And, you know, I learned like about respecting other people's time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You don't want to show up like super late. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you might not care, but people have stuff to do and other scenes to shoot. And, it's not fashionably late. You're just being a douche.